Welcome to the Mechanics of Punching video. In this video, I'm going to explain to you all the do's of punching and a lot of the don'ts of punching. Okay? One of the primary concerns with punching is that there's 1,000 ways to do it wrong. So we're going to try to make sure you're not doing anything wrong in a way that could wind up hurting you. Because what is punching ultimately but taking your fist and hitting something very hard with it? So we need to make sure we do everything in the proper way. First, let's begin with understanding that there are 1,000 types of punches out there. Okay? We are concerned primarily with punches that come from a ready position, hands up in front of the face, or a chambered position. There are other punches we will do, but most of them begin either tight, high chambered, or in front of our face. Either way, what we want to focus on as far as biomechanics of the arm are exactly the same. The first thing we need to know is the two front knuckles, the index finger and the middle finger. These knuckles are where you are striking. You are trying to hit with those two knuckles on either hand when you're doing a traditional punch. In order for those knuckles to make first contact, you have to create a flat surface on the forearm and the hand. Most people punch like this, or they punch like this. You must try to make this as flat as possible so that these knuckles make the initial impact. Which brings me to my next point. At the moment of impact, you need to squeeze your hand and lock your wrist. So your hand can be relaxed, and you want it to be relaxed, and you want your wrist to be relaxed, and you want your fingers to be relaxed when you're punching. But at the moment of impact, you've got to squeeze tight, lock flat, and make contact with these two knuckles. So it can be loose, but when you hit, it has to lock for a second so that you don't hurt your wrist. Okay? So that's very important, and that's one of the hardest things to do. And initially, when people make a fist, this is what they do. They just squeeze their hand. But you see how this ramps up? No good. This has to be flat. Okay? And so you can make your contact and transfer energy through the big bones of your forearm out through these little bones of your hand into these two big knuckles. Having said that, when I'm demonstrating, you notice I have my elbow up because I'm doing what's essentially a hook into the camera for you. If I'm punching straight forward, the last thing I want is to tell the bad guy I'm punching by lifting my elbow. Lifting your elbow is not okay, especially in linear punches. In fact, lifting your elbow is never okay unless you're doing a hook punch. And even then, the elbow comes up after you start to come out and it snaps up into the punch. Boom. You don't want to do this. You don't want any pulling down to punch. You don't want any pulling away to punch. You don't want any lifting outside to punch. Everything comes from inside here, either from here or from here. So when I'm doing a straight-on punch, and I'll just do a very common Western boxing punch. If I've got my hands up and I'm punching from here, when this arm comes out, this elbow stays in. The arm comes out and the wrist rotates into the punch. The shoulder extends. The chin stays down. I want this to be flat, but I don't want my elbow to come up. That's wrong. I want the elbow to stay down and snap out. And you notice I snap out flush. I do not turn my thumb down. That's another problem that a lot of people do. And when I say a lot of people, I see professional MMA fighters turning their thumb down. That's no-no. Absolutely wrong. You need to turn and straight in, boom, and straight back, and out. Keep the elbow down. And then when this one comes back, this one can come out and they can pass each other. Okay? Pass each other from here. If I'm punching, from here, the elbow stays in and rotates out. Okay? Into a long punch or the middle long punch. This is still a long punch, but it's middle height, shoulder. Head high, shoulder high, punching low. Okay? It's still the same punch, a long punch. Okay? The elbow stays in tight when we rotate over, and we don't over-rotate. Okay? So, those are the primary, most important things for safety of punching. You've got to hit with these knuckles. You've got to keep this flat. You've got to lock this wrist. That's going to keep your hands safe. Now, the number one thing I probably haven't touched yet as far as safety, you just broke your thumbs. Get your thumbs out of your fist and wrap them. Now, Every system, every person will tell you something a little bit different about where the thumbs go. You can put the thumb here, you can put the thumb here. You can just wrap the thumb underneath and keep it tight. Putting it here invites capture and twist and pull. Our short punch, the thumb is typically here sometimes. And then we wrap it here for the rest of our punches. I don't like different punching styles. For my school, I switched it. Everyone does this here. No thumbs up here, right? Even though I've done it many times, and you'll see it in videos, I will put my thumb here. I don't want you to do it. Do as I say, not as I do. Put your thumb here. Don't do this 20,000 times until it becomes impossible to break the bad habit like I did. Put it here. Punch from here. Okay? Keeping the elbows in, not up. Okay? Keep the elbows tight back, not out. We're not chickens. No chicken wings. All right. Another thing with punching is the push-pull. I have an image. I like to tell people, pretend you've got a rope or string tied around your wrist that runs up the inside of your arm and through your armpit and out this armpit and down your arm to here. But it's not long enough to do this. It's only long enough to do this. So if you pull this hand, this one has to come in. Okay? Puppet strings. Okay? That's how we punch. We punch like that. We push the punch out. We pull this hand back. We pull this hand back. We push this punch out. Okay? They have to change. You notice I'm turning too when I punch and I'm putting my shoulder forward. We don't do this. Okay? We do this. See the difference? Look at my shoulder. Look at that. It's up here against my cheek. Okay? This is protecting me. This is not protecting anything. This is protecting me. Okay? So we want to extend our shoulders when we punch. And we want to punch through the target and come back. Okay? So the mechanics of punching are such that if you're hitting with these two knuckles and your fist is flat and forearms are flat and you're locking your wrist at the moment of impact and you're keeping your elbows in when you punch, you're doing it mostly right. Keep those thumbs out. Okay? And as we progress, we'll tweak this and get better and better. But you must follow those basic rules from the beginning if you wish to have good punches.